All right, next group of rights we're going to talk about are going to be the rights that protect citizens of the United States or give them protections for certain civil liberties that they have. The first of these amendments we're going to talk about is your Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear arms. The text of the Constitution says the right to keep and bear arms in order to have a well-regulated militia, that's a lot to say, shall not be infringed. Now, again, we talked about under our First Amendment rights that not all rights are absolute. There are limits on all rights that we have as U.S. citizens, and those limits are determined by Congress and by the court system in and of itself. Historically, the court has been a lot more deferential to the United States when it comes to regulating these Second Amendment rights. Here recently, within the last 30 years or so, you have seen the courts be more lenient towards citizens when it comes to ownership and gun ownership cases. One prominent example is the Heller case that was before the Supreme Court. I believe that one allowed certain citizens and cities to own guns that they weren't allowed to own before. The intent behind the Second Amendment is to make sure that citizens, well, and actually, I can't say what the intent behind the Second Amendment is because it's still something that we are debating and discussing as a country throughout our court system. There are some people that believe that the Second Amendment allows you to have unlimited firearms and own whatever firearm you want. There are others that say that there can be limits on what you have for firearms. From the years 1993 to about 2003, we actually had a federal assault weapons ban where it was illegal to buy or sell assault-style weapons in the United States. That was allowed to expire, and now we have those again. So the Second Amendment does give you the right to own firearms. The debate we have right now in this country is more over what limits does that right have and what is the role of the government in setting those limits. Alexander Hamilton, in one of the Federalist Papers, gave the example of the citizenry of the United States would have the ability to own the same type of weapons that the United States Army used. So the militias and armies would have equal weapons. And in the time frame where the most advanced weapon that a soldier could carry was a rifled musket, that was absolutely true. Today, not so much. The United States Army has a lot better weapons that you can gain access to, and we're going to talk more about kind of that argument in the next video because this one's going to need 2 parts for just the Second Amendment alone. So next video is going to be a little bit more going into the Second Amendment and the well-regulated militia and what weapons citizens can own.